In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcast, I have a very interesting guest with me here today. It's not the first time that he's involved with fast-growing company. It's I'm here with James Hotson, who is heading over from Thankful, currently holding the title of the VP of Partnerships. Is going to tell us all about the current growth of the company and who they're serving. So, James, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really am excited to be here.
Very cool. Maybe give us the rundown. What is Thankful all about?
So, Thankful is a customer service automation solution. So, we built some technology to really understand what customers are saying when they're writing into different businesses or brands, and then can automate responses back to those customers and actually solve it. So, we're kind of on a mission to really give great customer service. The whole idea came about when we were dealing with some companies that had terrible customer service, and we were having to like wait weeks for the correct answer from an expert, or we get an answer really quick and it'd be incorrect. And we thought this was just like a terrible, frustrating experience. And we can kind of know what technology can deliver. So we set out to build something a lot better that can give the end customer a much better experience, and give them some time back, give them some time of their life back, instead of
Very
spending their days on like customer service waiting calls.
Yep, makes a whole lot of sense. Is that are you serving like a particular industry? Because obviously, in particular industries, customer service takes different types of roles. Sometimes it's very automated, sometimes it's self-serve, sometimes it's super high touch. Like who do you serve?
So right now, I think ideally we would revolutionize kind of the whole concept of service,
Mhm.
because service is usually the last thing that any company thinks about. It's often the messiest, it's often the most antiquated, it's often perceived to drive no revenue. So from our perspective, it's a huge opportunity as an industry to, work with any business, and we start to see the rise of this like CXO title, Chief Experience Officer, and so
Mhm.
any businesses that's really focused on customer experience could take advantage of Thankful.
Mhm.
Um, at the moment, we are a younger startup. We're just getting started. And so we've really focused in on direct to consumer e-commerce companies. Those seem to be doing fantastic with us. We work with some of the best brands on Shopify Plus, like Bombas, Blenders Eyewear, Pura Vida bracelets. I mean, those the kind of the who's who color pop of Shopify.
Mhm.
But we have our vision to work with insurance companies, fintech, with travel. I think what we've built can be applied to any particular business that is servicing a customer at a high scale.
Very cool. Could you just, high level overview? What's the type of experience like an end user would experience when going through sort of the Thankful interface? Is that, maybe tell us just two, three sentences about that.
Sure. Well, if we're doing our job, or if the technology is doing its job, the end customer never knows that they're interacting with Thankful.
Mhm.
And many times we get compliments that, the customer doesn't know that it was a bot or it was an AI agent actually answering their request.
Mhm.
One way a customer might interact with Thankful is if you'd ordered something online from a brand and it's been a week or two and you haven't received your package, you might go on their website and chat that brand. Hey, where's my order at? The response back might ask you for your order number. It might ask you for your email address that you placed the order with to make sure there's the user. Um, and then at that point, the response back actually might be a Thankful AI agent crafting that response back saying, hey, Lucas, your order is going to arrive in 2 days. Here's your tracking number.
Mhm.
And so that would be one way that a customer might interact with Thankful, but we're going to be on every channel. So whether it's email, SMS, Instagram's launching some very cool things here in the next couple months, Facebook Messenger right now. So anywhere that you're writing into a brand or it's ending up in the customer service department, Thankful would be reading and responding to those messages.
Very good. Um, who is bringing Thankful on board? Is that like, I mean, you mentioned already the customer experience or head of customer experience? Is that those particular these types of roles, or is that support more? Like who's bringing in
Yeah,
the
most brands we or businesses we work with tend to have a director of customer service or a customer service manager. It's that same person that helped bring Zendesk or Customer Gladly on their help desk for their actual ticketing system. It's the same person that's evaluating what if they're going to outsource to some sort of BPO to bring on a call center. It's that
Mhm.
same person who's kind of reaching out to try to figure out how do they optimize their customer service department, how do they deliver that better customer experience.
Gotcha. Makes a whole lot of sense. Super interesting. What are the sort of, you're working with partnerships, obviously. Maybe tell us a little bit about sort of the different channels that you guys are leveraging to grow, just to give, listeners a bit of an overview of how companies like yours, is, getting some fuel.
Yeah. Well, we've been really lucky. We actually just brought on our first VP of marketing here just a couple of months ago. And
Mhm.
so up until now, it's been a lot of word of mouth. And we've been lucky in the fact that we've worked with great brand names that everyone knows. And so when they tell their friends about us and they're seeing success, it makes it really easy for people to learn about Thankful.
Mhm.
We have our website, thankful.ai, that everyone can go and read about. And we're slowly building out our partner program where for the technologies that we've built integrations with, we are doing some types of marketing with them. So you can go into the Zendesk marketplace and find a Thankful app.
Mhm.
And you can install that Thankful app right in Zendesk if you like. And so through our partners, we're able to get a little bit more exposure. And that really is just stemmed from the existing brands having success with their existing tech stack, if that makes sense.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Maybe just to come back to the product, right? So just make it clear for everybody who's listening. Maybe could you help us differentiating a little bit? Like, what is something that you would get with Thankful that is very difficult to get somewhere else in the market?
So we are best in the world at free form text analysis. And that's a really nerdy way of saying that a machine can understand the written intent of a customer as good as a human can. It took our CTO, Evan Tan, about 4 years to build the capabilities from the natural language processing standpoint, to get the context right, to get everything that we want, to get all the nuances of customer service correct to a point where we could actually take it to market.
Mhm.
So we are reading every single customer ticket across any channel. And then when we can understand that ticket and when we can actually resolve that ticket, um, Thankful's taking action. So we can answer a question as fast as the internet can go, which is saving the human agent's time. But we're reading and understanding. The perfect example is like I'd like to, a customer might write in and say, hey, I'd like to return these jeans for a size larger. Well, if you're doing like a keyword, which is kind of what was in the market before, they'd see the word return and the bot would just classify it as a return and it would go there. But the reality is, if you read that message, that customer doesn't actually want a return, they want an exchange.
Mhm.
And so we're going through that process and we're saying, okay, actually we can help you exchange that. Here's a shipping label to send it back. Would you like us to process a size larger jeans and ship that to you right away? So we're not just kind of spitting back FAQ pages or how to return a product and kind of doing that layer one. We're going that extra mile with a lot of these inquiries to really solve what that end customer's pain point is.
Mhm. Very, very good. Okay, cool. I sort of get to understand the picture, what you guys are fully doing, and I think the listeners also get a bit of a deeper understanding. What I would love to do is, if you could maybe tell us a little bit about what you think sort of is, more on a generic level, is the challenge when entering the customer service space at the moment, right? Because there's been like traditional players, bots have been there for a while. Like, what do you find to be sort of the challenge, but also the opportunity when joining that market?
Sure. Well, I think the everything goes back to the level of expectation that the customer has.
Mhm.
The person that's buying from the mom and pop shop is also likely buying from Amazon. Maybe they're, subscribed to Netflix. Those brands have great customer service and they have armies of teams to do customer service and they have armies of teams to analyze data to improve that customer service experience. And so if you're just getting started in customer service, it's very tough to get that high level of quality that you'd want in your customer service department because it is expensive. And kind of going back to that earlier point, we see most businesses invest a ton in their products. So they have a really high quality product. They invest a ton in their website or their marketing because they have really high quality marketing. But the customer service doesn't really match that same high quality that they're putting on in the other departments, is what we see. And so I always encourage businesses that in customer service, you actually have that customer's attention. This is an opportunity for you to really connect with that customer, and attention is like the most scarce resource we have in
Interesting.
today's world. And so it really is worthwhile to invest in that customer service department, because we do see a correlation between better service equals higher lifetime value.
Interesting. Never heard that somebody bringing to light the fact of the attention in customer service, right? Because now they want to talk to you. Usually it's the
Right.
other way around.
Right. You're spending, your cost to acquire a customer with ads might be $10, and you're banging on their door and saying, hey, look at me, look at me. And then all of a sudden they're coming to you and saying, hi, I need something from you. And you're just kind of sweeping them under the rug. That's backwards, in my opinion.
Makes a whole lot of sense. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about you a little bit personally, and sort of how you are educating yourself. For example, like what would be the resources? You're having a lot of different tasks that you're learning and improving on. Where do you go to educate yourself?
Sure. I've been lucky. I've been building this muscle a little bit every day for the last decade or so on e-commerce, and so I follow a few thought leaders on Twitter. They seem to be posting good reads. I'm always looking at the co-marketing that our partners are doing. I think that's a great source, especially if they're bringing on a brand, to listen how the brand's using a new technology or how they're introducing it. So I have, 3 or 4 different outlets that I check every single day just to see, okay, do I have the latest news? And then depending on the industry, there's a couple of customer service, blogs that publish pretty good content. I found it to be pretty repetitive after a few months. It's all similar stuff, but it's good to stay up on top of everything.
Very cool. I want to wrap it up with a couple of rapid fire questions. Are you ready for those?
I'm ready.
Very good. What's the last book that you read?
You know what? It's a nutrition book. It's called How Not to Die by Professor
Yep.
Michael Greenberg.
Yep.
I love
Sits
it.
on sits on my shelf as well. What is one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
I think improving the product to give that end user that no one thinks about the best possible experience.
If there would be no boundaries in technology, what's the one thing you want to have fixed for your role today?
Ooh, no boundaries. I think high-speed internet everywhere all the time.
Very good. What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
Um, if I'm very honest, how do we price this effectively so it delivers the most value to every customer and every brand?
Makes sense. And if today would be your very first day, and actually maybe let's jump a little bit more back because you have a couple of company under your belt previously. If in the previous company, if you go back to the first day that you ever started there, what's the one advice that you would give yourself?
I think spend more time listening to the pain points of customers and spend more time on product, because that's kind of the ultimate strategy. You don't want to be solving for like a small pain when you're missing a ginormous pain right over here.
Makes a whole lot of sense, James. I really appreciate that you took the time to share, what Thankful is all about. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting what we discussed today, what's the one thing they should remember about Thankful?
Well, thank you very much for having me. And I think if you're running a customer service department or you have your own business, and you can kind of imagine a world where if you woke up tomorrow and 30 or 40% of your customer service tickets were already taken care of, that is what Thankful is building and delivering that as like a beautiful customer experience to the end customer. We're by far and away the best customer service automation tool in the market right now.
Very good. Thanks for being part of the show.
Thank you for having me, Lucas. I appreciate it.